Welcome to our mock draft 1.0. We are doing the 2016 mock draft. This will be our first one. We're doing this one together, and we're going to come back and do another one right before the draft separately and do another podcast. Without further ado, let's get started. We got the Tennessee Titans selecting Laramie Tunzel, left tackle Ole Miss.
Yeah, and I think that would be the safest, smartest pick. Protect your quarterback.
Yeah, he got destroyed last year. I mean, you invested a high pick in him last year, number 2 overall.
And you took that Beckham Green last year, and then you got that Matthews from Miami as another receiver, and Harry Douglas last year. And Walker's a good tight end with Hunter at receiver. Wright, I'm sorry. Hunter hasn't really developed, but with Wright. And so if you get him that left tackle, I think that's a little – I know they need defense, but I think that's a smart move.
I agree. Number 2, the Cleveland Brownies, taking quarterback Carson Wentz, North Dakota State.
I'm not really big on this guy at all. I don't understand why he's going up that high. I think they're better off with taking Goff, but
Yeah,
I think they're going to take him.
I do too. I don't understand the hype. I mean, he got hurt, missed
8 games.
Yeah, I don't really know. I mean, I guess he ran a pro style offense, had success at high school level. I mean, I don't know how that
North Dakota State.
But
I wasn't really that impressed at the senior game, so I don't know. We'll see in the next few years.
Yeah, Browns tend to pick the wrong guy, so we're gonna go ahead and pick the wrong guy for them.
Yep.
Number 3, the San Diego Chargers select Jalen Ramsey. I think he's the best player in this draft, and they lost Eric Weddle. I mean, doesn't hurt to make your defense better.
Yeah, and whether he's corner or safety, I think he's a playmaker on defense. They really do. I don't think they're really that close of making a good playoff run. I think they need some help.
I mean, their offense is decent. They still got Gates. I mean, Melvin Gordon, they drafted last year. I don't see anything out of him. You never know. And then they picked up Benjamin to go along with Keenan Allen.
Yeah, I'm not sold on him either.
Yeah.
And Gordon's really surprised me that he actually made a nice few runs when they played Cincinnati Bengals this year when I was there to watch that. But other than that, he hasn't done nothing. I've been kind of surprised on that.
Yeah, so we went and took defense just to, help that out a little bit. Number 4, we get Dallas Cowgirls. We got them taking Joey Bosa out of OSU.
Yeah, I'm not. I think he fits them. I don't think he's really the number 1 overall anymore pick of the draft. I think he'd fit. They need defensive line help. I guess they could take a cornerback and let him develop, or even Elliott. But I don't really see them stretching for a running back that early.
No,
I mean, maybe I shouldn't say stretching because Elliott could be a special running back, but I think the help they need with Romo coming back, and I guess you don't know how he's going to helping out that defense. Look what Denver did last year. I think it'd be a smart decision.
Randy Gregory hasn't really done much to impress me. I mean, it's only been 1 year.
Yeah, I was impressed with him to start.
Joey Bosa would be a good pick. I mean, the only other pick I can see here is another quarterback.
I agree.
Number 5, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars taking Vernon Hargreaves.
And he's my favorite corner, I think, in the draft. More polished. I watched a couple of years at Florida. I guess Ramsey, I think, is a little more of a playmaker at the corner safety. He might end up being more of a safety guy. But I don't know. I think I really like Hargreaves a lot.
Yeah, and you had a good defensive back along with all the moves they've made this offseason. I think that team could be a wild card team.
Yeah, they're. I think they'll be close at least. Anyways, at worst case scenario, I think they're going to take another step. They got Blake Bortles has turned out better than we thought. I just think they're doing it the right way and keeping their coach, which some other teams should do.
Get Fowler back.
Yeah, I'm anxious to see him.
Now where Irving went to? With the Raiders.
The Raiders took him, but they were in Jacksonville was wanting him, but I'm glad they didn't overpay him.
They did a smart move. Number 6, we got the Baltimore Ravens taking DeForest Buckner. Just building that defense up.
I guess I think they'll go with him because they want to traditionally have great defenses. But I mean, I could see him taking like Stanley there too. I think it'd probably be either of those two. I mean, I don't think they'll take Treadwell because they kind of,
Yeah,
took receiver last
yeah, they
year.
got Rashard Perriman last year. They took. I think. I think Buckner's the best on the board there. Number 7, San Francisco 49ers. Got them taking Jared Goff. Stays over in California. I think that'd be a good pick.
Yeah, I think he's in near his home, or at least where he played at, so he knows the area, more familiar. I think that's a natural fit. I think for him. I think they may if it's Wentz, I think they still could go quarterback, especially if they trade Kaepernick.
Uh,
I think they're going to take quarterback there.
yeah, I think either way they go quarterback. Unless both of those are gone, I don't think they'd stretch for Lynch.
No, I don't think they'd stretch for Lynch either.
Number 8, I guess there was a trade. Miami traded with Philly. So I guess Philly has this pick, and we are going with left tackle or right tackle, depending how you look at it. Ronnie Stanley out of Notre Dame.
I think this fits. They need some offensive line to help with, I guess, whoever they're going to have a quarterback between Chase Daniels and Sam Bradford.
Or
That
both.
yeah, I don't know why they re-signed Bradford like that, but hey, I mean, I think they're going to need some more blocking help up there. I mean, I guess they're a team that could take Elliott too, especially if they trade
Yeah.
Ryan Matthews. But I think offensive line. I mean, him falling there. I think that's it'd be hard to pass up. He could be the best on the board at that spot.
Yeah. Number 9, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers take Shaq Lawson, defensive end, Clemson.
Yeah, and I really like this guy, Shaq Lawson. Tampa Bay really needs another edge rusher to help McCoy out. Gerald McCoy is their defensive tackle.
Michael Johnson didn't work out.
Yeah, and I'm glad he came back to where he. I mean, I guess they could take a cornerback here, but if Hargraves falls somehow, but I'd be hard to pass on him there. Miles Jackson, another guy would be hard. Not to pick, but that defensive pass rush on that defensive line is what they need back.
Yeah, I think they're going to try to follow the Broncos mold of rushing the passer. And all right, the number 10 pick, the New York Giants we got Miles Jack.
Yeah, and I think they could if Jack goes earlier and Shaq Lawson falls, I could easily.
Although they did just sign a ton of defensive
That is true. That is. I mean, they haven't really had a lot of great linebackers in a while. At least I think so. Mm-hmm. And Miles Jack is a steal. He could be easily one of the top 2 or 3 players in this draft, the best. So I think that's a steal there.
Yep. Number 11, the Chicago Bears taking A'Shawn Robinson, defensive tackle, Alabama. I thought they needed defensive tackle last year. I mean, it's just a really thin position. I thought they'd take Shelton. They passed up for a receiver. I don't see any way they don't go.
Yeah, I think they need. And they kind of went after Danny Trevathan at line.
Yeah, they got him.
And then they got a few other small pieces for depth there. So yeah, I think they really need to go Robertson, or at least one of the defensive line for sure.
Yeah. Number 12, the New Orleans Saints take Andrew Billings out of Baylor.
Yeah, I really like this guy too, and they really need a lot of pieces. But I think they're going to want another pass rusher. He'll probably be in there 3-4. I mean, he might still be defensive tackle, but I think he'll be more of a defensive end. But regardless, I think they need to get some bodies on that defensive line, make some pass rush bad.
They need some young players.
Yeah.
I think this is a copycat league. I think a lot of people are going to be getting pass rushers in this draft just because of the way the Broncos just won it.
And I mean, and Jalen Smith, I guess we should maybe mention his name now because here's another place where he could go, and if he was going to come back, at least half the season, or if he would at least come back the 2017 season, somebody in this range would maybe take him and let him redshirt a year. But there is questions about his, have some nerve damage and stuff.
Yeah.
So he may fall out of the first round or so. But you just never know. He could fit. The Saints could go after a linebacker too, especially if Miles Jack fell. I'd be surprised, but they would nab him.
Yeah, definitely. The number 13 pick, the Miami Dolphins take inside linebacker Reggie Ragland out of Alabama.
Yeah, and this guy's one of my favorite. He might, besides Miles Jack, he's probably my second favorite linebacker in the draft. I like Smith a lot too, Jalen Smith, but Ragland, he's special. He's a kind of attacking linebacker, and I think between this range and like the low teens, I think he for sure will go. But
Maybe a little high, but
yeah, it might be just a. This is like kind of our first mock, and Miami needs some defensive help, and getting them a linebacker would be wise.
I'd pair him with Lonzo, wouldn't it?
Yeah, they just got Kiko Alonso, and they're still quick. And if he can retain, come back to form like he did in Buffalo, but if he even came close to that, that could give them a good pairing. And even Darren Lee from Ohio State, any one of them, but he might be a little stretched too. But they need defensive help bad.
Oh yeah. Number 14, the Oakland Raiders select offensive tackle Jack Conklin. Um, I think same thing that we said earlier. Just protect your pick. I mean, they got Derek Carr. He looks good. They got Mari Cooper and Crabtree out there,
Yeah,
and that, even that tight end,
from
Clive
Miami.
Walford. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So yeah, I think
uh,
I think that would be. He fits the Raiders too to me, and I mean whether he's a right or left, I'm not sure if they brought back Donald Penn or not, but I think that would be smart just to keep building around Derek Carr because they did like Bruce Irvin in the free agency,
that's right.
and so they've done a few moves there, and they're looking at Reggie Nelson at safety, so they still could be adding to their defense. I say go with Conklin there.
Yeah, and they brought in that guard from the Ravens, Osimile.
Yeah, so just build the offensive line. That's the way to go.
Yep. For 15, the Los Angeles Rams select quarterback Paxton Lynch.
Yeah, this might be my favorite quarterback. I think he does need maybe a year to develop, but I think the Rams really need to look into a long-term franchise quarterback. Now they need some receivers bad too, so I could easily see in Treadwell go or offensive line, but I think that they're going to take Paxton Lynch, and they may redshirt him a year, but get him in there and with Gurley, the future looks really good with getting some young players in
Defense
there.
is solid.
Yeah, defense is still going to be solid. They did lose a few pieces, but
That line, though.
that defensive line will help you out.
You know, not to talk too much about them, but I think if they had a quarterback with that defense, I think they could be a playoff team.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I think. If they had a playoff or quarterback last year, they could have maybe made it in, squeaked into the playoffs last year.
My one worry about them is Jeff Fisher. He's a 500 quarterback.
Yeah, he just seems he can't get over 500.
Number 16, the Detroit Lions. We had them taking offensive tackle Taylor Decker from OSU. They did take a tackle a few years ago. I mean,
But they could move him over to Riley Leaf to right and put him at Decker at left, or vice versa. They could also take Treadwell or running back at Elliott. But I think with Marvin Jones and Golden Tate there, I mean, I think they'll definitely probably draft a receiver, and maybe they just take Treadwell and hope he's their number one. But protecting Stafford and getting that running game going they never really had a running game going, so
Yeah.
I think it might be wise to get offense.
Number 17, the Atlanta Falcons. We got them taking Leonard Floyd out of Georgia. This guy's a late riser. He's been flying up the boards.
Yeah, I'm a little scared of him too, especially at this point. But I mean, he can be defensive end or linebacker out of Georgia, and I mean Atlanta, their coach is defensive, oriented. So I think I could easily see them going with Floyd here. Somebody like him at this point.
He paired well with their first round pick last year too.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Number 18, the Colts select Zeke Elliott, OSU. They have needed a running back for quite a while. I'm pretty sure Gore is.
Yeah, I'd agree. And this is a tough one too because they could use a lot of defensive help, but offensive line, like we said, protecting quarterback is huge. But for this mock, I mean, I think tackles could go pretty early, so you don't want to stretch. I mean, they could go in the second round and see maybe that Kansas State guy would fall to him at guard. But I think how can you pass on someone like? I mean, Elliott still would help block and getting that run game going, take pressure off of luck too. So I think they really need to get that going again.
Yep. Number 19, the Buffalo Bills select defensive lineman Jerron Reed out of Alabama. That's your boy.
Yeah, that's another one of my boys that fell to the Bengals at defensive tackle. I like him a little bit more than Robinson, but we'll just see what happens. I could easily see them getting him a defensive tackle and just bringing in, some more pass rush. He's more of a run stopper probably than a sack master, at least right now. But hey, I mean, you always need to stop the run. That's key. So I think that would be, going with Darius, tagging with him could be a really good combination on that defensive line.
Yeah, they definitely need defense. 20, the New York Jets select Darren Lee out of OSU, outside linebacker. This guy is
Yeah.
athletic freak, man.
Oh,
He's so
yeah.
fast.
He's another guy. Now, the Bengals would be nice with linebacker to look at. I think he would be a great pick for the Jets. I think they need to get another young linebacker in there. Like and David Harris can kind of, guide him and help him out and learn from him, I think.
Yeah. 21, the Washington Redskins select defense tackle Sheldon.
Yeah, I mean they after losing Terrence Knighton, I think bringing in somebody like this to keep the, help the defense align. I think that's going to be kind of a weakness now. I mean, I guess they could always add a cornerback here too, or another try to upgrade the linebacker position. But I think getting it, defensive line help is where they need to go at to keep advancing.
Yeah, it seems like that's their weak spot. Their offense seemed all right last year. 22, the Houston Texans select Laquan Treadwell, the first receiver.
Yeah, we're going to have a few more right after this go. But yeah, I think the Texans to pair him with Hopkins, and now they got Brock Osweiler. I think they overpaid, but I I think that's and they got Lamar Miller too, so they're getting guys around him.
Defense is already good.
Yeah, their defense is already pretty solid. Well, there's no question with J.J. Watt, so I think bringing in Treadwell that would definitely get them going and help him. Also, Osweiler throwing downfield.
Yep. 23, my favorite team, the Minnesota Vikings, select Josh Doxson.
Here's another player that I'd really love for the Bengals to get, but I'm starting to come around to the feeling that the Vikings will take Dawson. I think he really would. He's going to be really solid. I think he is for sure the second best receiver in this draft, and he can go up and get the ball even if it's not accurate. And he's somebody that you can stretch the field and I think be consistent. And he can pair with Stephon Diggs really well.
Yeah.
So
they need a tall receiver.
Yeah.
All the receivers are 5'10".
I mean, it wouldn't really make sense with Corey Coleman. I like him a lot, but he's the same size as Diggs.
Yeah.
And if like Conklin or Decker fell, I could see them getting a tackle to eventually replace Matt Khalil and maybe redshirt him. But I think they're going to go Dawson here.
Yep. And even if Lowholt retires, same deal. All right, 24.
My favorite team, Cincinnati Bengals. Heck yeah.
Corey.
Yeah, Corey Coleman. I mean, I think it would be hard for them with Ragland or Lee or even Reed for the defensive line to fall. I think it would be hard not to take one of those players. But if any of the top three receivers, and I think Coleman is like the third best in my opinion.
Okay.
So I think the pair with Green and Eifert, I think this is the way to go. You got to be a little aggressive. They got to replace a receiver. There's nobody really left in the free agents market to really, I think, help them enough. So I think Coleman is a smart pick here.
Yeah, Brandon Tate can't be your number 2 receiver.
No, that's for sure.
The Seattle Seahawks at 25 select cornerback Mackenzie Alexander.
Oh, it's actually the Pittsburgh Steelers are at 25.
Are they? Why does our list say the Seattle Seahawks?
Okay, I'm really confused.
We'll go ahead and do the Pittsburgh, and that's who we had taken Mackenzie Alexander.
Yes, they need cornerback. I think they need secondary. I know William Gay they brought back. The Cortez Allen might be going, and they really need to get some fresh, young corner in there for sure to buff up their secondary.
Definitely, they've needed that for a few years now. All right, so number 26 this time
Is the
is the
Seahawks.
Seattle Seahawks, and we have them taking Mackenzie or Noah Spence out of Eastern Kentucky. This guy is the former Ohio
Yeah,
State
he's
guy.
intriguing. He could play defensive end or linebacker.
He lost Irvin.
Yeah, they lost Irvin.
And I think Pete Carroll can handle whatever issues he has with his
Yeah, I
offensive
agree,
ability.
and I don't know if he'll come right away and be a stud, but I could see him developing into a solid defensive player and a sack guy.
Yeah, for sure. So number 27, we have the Green Bay Packers taking Vernon Butler, Louisiana Tech. They need defensive help.
Yes, I
Defensive
think for
line.
sure. I mean, coming back, the offense is going to get more in the rhythm.
Yeah,
So I think they need. I mean, offensive line too, but I really think defensive tackle, defensive end. You could put him in either spot in a 3-4, I think, but they need defensive line help bad.
for sure. Number 28, the Kansas City Chiefs. We have taken Robert Kendichi of the Ole Miss. This guy, I hear his name all.
Yeah, I think for the 3-4, he'll be a defensive end for him, and they need that pass rusher. They've done a really good job of retaining their guys, bringing them back, and their linebacker core is real solid. I mean, I know they did lose Sean Smith at corner and Tyler Branch at safety. So but I still think that defensive line here again, getting back to the whole Denver thing. Not trying to keep bringing that up, but I think they need another young pass rusher, and if he can even come close to what Marcus Peters did last year for him, that would be
Yeah.
huge for their defense.
Do you think if one of the top three receivers fell, they?
I could see that. Even Will Fuller,
Yeah.
I like him, or Michael Thomas, but yeah, I could see them going receiver too. But why not add to that suffocating defense?
Yeah. Number 29 was New England, and it forfeited. So we're going to go ahead and go up to 30, which is the Arizona Cardinals. We have them taking Emmanuel Ogba.
From Oklahoma State. This guy's a little intriguing. I think here again they're getting a little older on the defensive line. Um, I think he can come in and help. If you remember the Carolina Panthers game, I think it was evident that they need some defensive line help. I mean they could go offensive line too, or even linebacker falls. Um, Kenny Clark from UCLA, he's even been mocked. I've seen some of the Bengals even that high, so I can see him coming. Or Ward from Illinois, but I think this guy is one of the. I think he's going to be a stud for him, so I can see them going with him.
31, the Carolina Panthers select Kevin Dodd of Clemson.
They brought back Charles Johnson, but why not keep getting younger? Even if he's a rotational guy and can help get them some sacks and stuff, and he can maybe eventually turn into a stud for them. I wasn't really high on him early in the first round, but I think this where he kind of goes fits a little
Good
bit.
spot for him. Plus, Jared Allen retired. So 32, the Denver Broncos select offensive tackle Jermaine Ifedi, I believe is how you pronounce it, out of Texas A&M.
Yeah, and I think he could go here, or that Springs from Indiana. We right now don't know who their quarterback is going to be, but they do need another tackle in there. I think Clady's gone, or he's getting older, so helping their offensive line, I think, is key. They could try to get defensive line to replace Malik Jackson, but I see them going offensive tackle.
They got to keep their quarterback upright. They probably needed that last year, but they still won despite that. So props to them.
Yep.
Well, that wraps up our first mock draft. We will do another one here in about a month or so?
Yeah, probably. Just right before the draft, we'll do our separate.
Yeah, that one will be more in depth and better. All right. Thanks for watching.
Thank you. Bye.